Hey lovelies, it is that time of the month again. Get ready for another fun build your own palette. I'm excited to share this month's shades with you. This is gonna be a little blast from the past. This month's theme was a suggestion of a subscriber and I think it is so great. So we are going to be doing a palette based on our high school vibes. So whether that is like the makeup we wore, whether that was just like high school experience, all of the things. Since we are still in fall, it's sort of still kind of that like back to school vibes, although I cannot believe how fast the season is going so fast. So I thought this was a really fun, just little like walk down memory lane. This is definitely gonna be a little stretch for me today because I did a little combination of like things that remind me of my high school life and also things that remind me of my high school makeup. And let me tell you, high school Kelly, you know, early, like I would say honestly, from the time that I started wearing makeup up until my early 20s even, was so different than now. So different. So we're gonna dive into this one. I'm excited to show you these shades. We're gonna do at least one look. If I have the time, I will definitely do a second one, but I can't wait to chat with you about my high school makeup and my high school self. But if we haven't met before, my name is Kelly and I'm a professional hair and makeup artist. And here on my channel, I strive to keep beauty real. Real honest, real relatable, and real fun. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. If you are new to this series, my friend Cara from Beauty and the Frizz and I started this over 2 years ago now. We gotta be rolling up on 3. So this was sort of a way for us to use the eyeshadow singles that we have, get a little creative, and you know, just like use our makeup, right? So we love it when any of you want to jump in on this. It's totally an open collab. Like, do it when you feel like it, or if you have the time, skip the months that don't speak to you. Now, whether you are a creator or just a makeup enthusiast, you can totally dive right into this with us. I will give you all the details on how to do so at the end of this video, along with next month's theme. All right, I am going to give you a little peek at my palette. Now, I know that I have chatted with all of you a bit about how some of my makeup preferences have changed. This palette, I think really shows it. So here we are. Here is my high school makeup palette. So here we have our shades. As you can see, we have quite a few cool tones. That was totally Kelly. That was totally high school Kelly. Let me tell you, putting anything warm toned, gold jewelry, warm makeup next to me was like putting garlic next to a vampire. Like, it was not happening. And now, if you know, I very rarely like rock the silvers. You can see that I did put on a bit of silver jewelry today just to kind of celebrate the occasion. It's just so funny. It's so funny how our taste preferences change. I still enjoy a little silver moment, although this is obviously like, it's got a little bit of gold in there to keep me comfortable. Anyway, we definitely have some silvers in here. We've got some colors, like I said, some colors that remind me of life, some colors that remind me of my makeup. I'll share some of those things with you, and I can't wait to do this. Of course, I really want to know down in the comments, take some time to share with me what your high school makeup vibe was compared to now. I would really love to know, like, do you still enjoy some of the same things? Do you think back and go, oh my gosh, I think I've got a little mix of both, I would say. Anyway, let's go ahead. I'm going to zoom you in so we can give these shadows some swatches and we'll get into an eye look. All right, lovelies, let's get these swatches going. Please excuse me. I feel like I'm like extra Invisalign-y again. Let me tell you, speaking of, like, I never had braces in school, but this is totally giving me those vibes. I just went into the orthodontist this morning and my teeth, well, I feel like they've come such a long way from where they were like 4 or 5 months ago. My trays aren't quite aligning. So when I went in this morning, they had to rescan and I'm having to get a new set of trays, which means this one set I'm gonna have to rock for the next 3 more weeks or so until they come in. So that's gonna be really hard to do. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm a little over halfway through this journey. Really excited to be done. The orthodontist was like, wow, have we really been doing this for 5 months already? I'm like, 5 years, you mean? Like it just feels like so long, but I'm definitely excited about the progress I've made. I was a little bit bummed that we're sort of like having to go back a few weeks, but it's all good. Okay, so that being said, I feel like today is just one of those days that I'm having some difficulty talking. Sorry about that. All right, as I'm getting my magnet out. So like I said, I knew that I wanted some silver in here because cool tones were totally the vibe. I don't even think I owned a really warm eyeshadow for a good stretch of time. It just wasn't my thing. I loved silver. The shinier, the better. Even like the cooler toned bluey silver. And I don't really have a lot of those in my collection anymore. However, I think that I got this one and I don't think I've used it. I swatched it to check it out to put it in this palette and I don't think that I've ever used it. I think that I got this in the like going out of business mystery bag type situation that Makeup Geek did. This is the shade Silver Lining and she is silver, y'all. I mean, this is definitely a silvery silver. I wanted something that leaned a little bit more. I have a few that are sort of like taupey silvers or olivey silvers. I wanted something that leaned hard into the cooler tone. I think I did have one that was a little bit more blue, but I was like, I just can't imagine putting that on and wearing it all day though. So yeah, wow, look at that. I tell you what, I mean, this is not a new shadow by any means, but it's still performing really well. Definitely really well. Yeah, I remember I think it was like my freshman year or sophomore year, I had this shirt and it was, y'all, like I graduated in 99. So let's just start there. I had this shirt my freshman or sophomore year and it was velvet or like, no, I think it was like velvet, a mock turtleneck that was silver velvet. I wore that thing to bits. I wore it until it was probably like embarrassingly worn and probably, I think actually I remember like the armpits just got like funky. Like they just got stained probably from like sweat stains. Wow, we're really starting this video off on a personal note. And I'm sure that I wore it past its prime because I just loved it so much. It was blindingly silver and I loved it. And that this actually reminds me of that so much. It totally reminds me of that. Okay, this next one I pulled out, I honestly just wanted something really sparkly. I'm hoping this is gonna do it. I definitely, when I was in high school, I was really into, like I said, cool tones. I wore like, I remember having some purple eyeshadows, one in specific that I'm gonna share later with you. Some purple eyeshadows, some teal eyeshadows, but I loved anything sparkly. Like the glitterier, the more glittery, the better. And while hollow shadows weren't a thing back then, High School Kelly would have really loved that. And I just saw this in my collection. I was like, you know what? I have definitely not worn this one enough. This is Violet Holo from Glam Shop. And I thought this was really fall appropriate. It's sort of like a bit of a kind of like grungier violet. Sorry that my bracelet is in the way of the silver now, but you guys got to see it. Wow, these hollow shadows are really creamy, like they're that flaky creamy texture. All right, maybe you're able to see that one. I mean, it's definitely sparkly. It has a, I feel like these ones were some of the first hollows out there. Is this going to focus? And they were, for their time, they were the more holographic hollows, but I feel like more hollowy shadows have come out since these, but I do really like these. So I don't wear them that much, but this one I could see actually having a lot of fun with this fall. And like I said, when I put these palettes together, I always want to put a palette together that I could see actually using. So I definitely wanted to do that. All right, this next shade. So well, middle school through when I was in high school in Arizona, I actually was in 3 high schools in 3 states in my high school career, if you will. So I was in Arizona, and then after my sophomore year, I moved to Illinois to live with my father. And then like almost right away after I moved, they found out that they were going to be moving here to Wisconsin due to work stuff. And so I was also in Wisconsin and finished out my last year and a half of high school. So I was a little bit all over the place. But while I was in Arizona, I did actually play the violin. And I kind of came into that because my Nana, my mother's mother, she played the violin. At one point in her life, she was in the Philharmonic, and I thought it would be kind of cool to try that out. So I still actually have her violin. It's definitely like a keepsake for me. I don't play anymore because when I moved, they didn't have a string orchestra, and honestly, I wasn't good enough to pursue it privately, and I definitely wasn't good enough. Like, I remember when I moved to Wisconsin, they were like, oh, well, we could find room for you in the band. I was like, oh no, nope. Thank you very much. Definitely not doing that. So I sort of fell off the musical instrument wagon then. But it was definitely something that I enjoyed doing. I think I would have enjoyed it even more if I was better at it. I honestly, like, my pinky finger is so short that like fourth position is really hard for me. If anybody out there plays strings. But anyway, so it was definitely a portion of my life. And now that my Nana is gone, it's something that, you know, is just kind of special to me. So I wanted a brown that sort of represented my violin. And like I said, I still do have that violin tucked away in storage. I actually need to get it repaired just through the moves and through the climate changes. It definitely needs some repairs. I think some of the glue came undone, and yeah, so, but at some point I will absolutely do that. At any rate, what shade is this? This is Triple Chocolate Cake from Sydney Grace. And you know what? I'm sure that this came in a mystery bag or in a mystery box of shadows or something. I don't know that I have worn this shade, but it is a lovely brown shade. I have found recently that when I go to find a brown in my collection, I'm always like, oh, that's leaning a little bit gray, that's leaning a little bit red, that's leaning a little bit orange. Like, I've had a hard time finding the perfect brown. Like, just give me a good brown without like too crazy of a different undertone. I feel like this is a good neutral, leaning slightly cool brown. And so I'm excited to give this one a go. So this was also just me like justifying getting to try out a shade that I don't think that I've used much. Okay, so does anyone else specifically remember some of the actual makeup items that you used in high school or like even in middle school? Like, I don't remember the name of it, but I remember because when I was in middle school, it was totally the thing to do the dark, I mean, almost, I think people were using brow pencils and then like a light sheeny nude on the lips. Oh, I remember that. And I do not remember. It was a Revlon shade because I asked a couple of the girls in one of my classes. I was like, oh my gosh, I love your lipstick. And they told me which shade it was. At any rate, I still remember this shade and I looked it up. I had this eyeshadow that not only did I go through one of them, I think that I purchased a second one. Listen, y'all, which is just crazy to me now. Like, also, high school Kelly didn't have like a bajillion eyeshadows. High school Kelly was smarter. She was also had much less expendable income. But I had this shade called Silken Taupe from Maybelline. They still make it. And I thought that this shade is pretty close. It's pretty close. It's like a taupey. It's one of those like not taupe, not gold, not silver, kind of somewhere in the middle, like a mix of all the metallics. And this is just named Shimmer. It's another Sydney Grace. This is another one that I don't think I've used a lot. I'm trying to remember if this came in one of the recent mystery bags. This is, it's pretty close. This one is maybe just a bit more golden than Silken Taupe from Maybelline. Yeah, probably just a little bit, but it's close-ish. So yeah, I mean, I think also it just kind of balances out the palette a little bit to have something that's not like crazy cool in here. I tell you what, that shadow, I mean, I remember reading in like, probably not Cosmo, I was too young for that, but like one of those teen magazines about the whole like, put the shimmer on your eyelid and then make a V in your outer corner with a dark shade and like blend it. That's how I did like my shadow every single day. So I think we'll probably do like a version of that. I'm sure my eye shape has changed with gravity and age over time, but I definitely remember doing that and learning that. So So funny. You know, I tell you what, this is why, quote unquote, kids these days, to age myself, nobody really has like an awkward stage, because it isn't just like reading something in a magazine anymore. You have videos, you have tutorials, whether you are on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, like, I mean, growing up now, you learn about skincare, you learn about makeup, you could learn any technique you could possibly want to learn out there in a much better way than just trying to like get it from a diagram in a magazine. Also, there's a lot of overwhelm with all the content out there too. So pros and cons. I had never really necessarily intended to become a hair and makeup artist. Like that was never something that I sort of kind of fell into it, to be honest. But I always enjoyed doing my own hair. I was always into doing my own makeup. I also went through a period of time where I made sure my nails were painted all the time. I don't know how I was like ever doing homework or anything, because that meant that like every couple days I was taking off my polish and like putting new polish on. And my very best friend in high school in Arizona, while I was there, we took all of our polishes and we swatched them out for each other. And then we swapped those swatch charts so we could borrow each other's polishes. And we also mixed our own polishes. So, you know, you had something and then you wanted it to be like a little lighter or a little darker, or you decided to like combine colors or whatever. I also remember making my own pastels, but I remember there was this shade that I had created from having a white polish and adding a little bit of color to it. And it was like a pastel blue-green type shade. So I wanted to throw that in here. This is maybe a little bit grungier than that. So this is sort of like the Kelly of then combining with the Kelly of now. This is London Fog. This is from Devinah. And it is just such a beautiful shade. Very like fall, winter appropriate. I feel like this is going to be a great one for the season. And I think you could really make some fun looks with some of the shimmers in this palette really easily. And Kelly of Now would totally rock this nail polish. Like I could totally see doing this in the winter for like a week. Yeah, just that like slightly grungy pastel teal sort of like, you know, it's got a little bit of gray base to it. I could absolutely see doing this. So yeah, my friend Shannon and I. Shannon was a gem. She, you know, high school can be so difficult, and I was very lucky to have a friend where we both really supported each other through a lot of stuff, and I was really grateful to have her as a friend. It was really sad. It was probably the hardest part, honestly, about like moving, was like when you finally established a true friendship. Like, yeah, just one of those things. But yeah, between us passing notebooks in our locker, we, you know, shared a locker, which you weren't supposed to do. That was naughty. And we would write notes to each other in this notebook. We had code names for the guys that we liked. We would pass each other our nail polish swatches. I would help her do her hair. I was never that girl that was like doing everybody's hair, but I definitely helped Shannon with her hair. It was great. So Shannon, if by chance you happen to ever watch this, I really appreciate you. You know, your friendship really, you know, got me through a time. All right. Now, this is a shade that there definitely weren't shades that were like this texture, but this is one again that I think I would have lost my mind over. Like so much sparkle. Again, give me the glitteriest, give me the shimmeriest. This is a newer one to my collection that I haven't really used. This is a Pretties for Your Face shade. This is the shade Cauldron. It's absolutely beautiful. Of course, here we are at the end of October, so I thought this was very aptly named for this time of year. I will say I also found that this is a really good dupe for a shadow that you can't get anymore. So I'm going to share swatch comparisons on Instagram. So if you are curious, go ahead and follow me over at KEEPBEAUTYREAL. I actually swatched them both out and I was like, wow, they don't look like each other in the pan, but they do look pretty similar once they're on the skin. So this has a blue to almost like an ultraviolet reflect. It is a little bit flaky. I don't think that Kelly of the past would have minded that. I'm going to try to get some lighting here so that you can see that. Yeah, maybe you can see that there. So you've got that like ultraviolet, that very bright, because it's of course like a white base, and then that blue tone. Blue, almost like teal. Very, very pretty. So I don't think Kelly of the past would have minded dealing with flakies at all. I also don't think that Kelly of the past Did I? No, I don't think I wore foundation. I probably wore like a pressed powder. Ugh. I probably wore like a pressed powder. Also today I am wearing blush, which I definitely did not do in high school. Did not understand why anybody would ever wear blush. Of course now, like, you cannot pry me away from my blush. But anyway, so I thought that I would really like this shade. So that was just to celebrate a shade that, you know, Kelly of high school days would have really enjoyed. Okay, so how old would I have been? So I graduated when I was 17. So 14, 15 we're talking about in these ultra sparkly days. Now I do think that I sort of like toned down for a little bit when I was in my like junior and senior year, but also was still kind of like in love with all the things cool toned. All right, so I think everybody remembers their first car with fondness. Even if you like hated it in a way, you're just like, yeah, that was my first car. So my first car I bought with my own money. I pulled $750 out of my savings account, paid for it myself. I remember getting it, being excited, even though I couldn't drive it yet because I didn't know how to drive a stick shift, and it was a stick shift. It was an 84 Volkswagen Rabbit. It was brown. It was like this color brown, like this warm kind of brown. It had approximately a bajillion miles on it. Of course, there were no power locks, power windows, anything. It did not have a radio. It did not have anything. And also at one point, it started making the oil light, the like engine check oil light would go on at about 25,000, 30,000 RPMs. Is that right? I'm just, you know, the wheel thing on the gauges, and the light would go on and a sound would go, eh. So in the highest gear, that's about 35 miles an hour. So like when I would drive, I lived in a smaller town in Wisconsin, and when I would like drive into Madison to like go shopping or go to my voice lesson or whatever, I would have to hear that the entire way. Eh. I would put a headphones on and listen to my Discman, which is obviously very, very much not recommended. It's probably very unsafe because I'm sure I couldn't hear what was going on around me. But let's face it, sometimes people listen to music that is so loud that they can't hear anything anyway, even though it's not in headphones. So, oh, I didn't even say what shade this was. So this is still Cocoa Bear from Makeup Geek, which Marlena did change into Cheetah Bear. So this is just that warm, rich, beautiful shade. I think if you were a Makeup Geek lover, you probably have this shade in your collection. So just a reminder to get it out and use it. But this is really close to the shade of my first car. It's a little bit lighter maybe, but I wanted a bit of contrast with this and the darker shade, that triple chocolate cake from Sydney Grace. All right, we're getting a little rambly here, but this is what happens in story time. All right, so like I said, I specifically remember a few of the makeup items in my little makeup thing. And by the way, I did have a caboodle. Anybody else? Let me know down below if you were team caboodle. I absolutely had a caboodle. Can you guess what color it was? Yes, it was sparkly silver. It was glittery silver. And I think it was kind of like, you know, clear with tons of silver sparkle. And I had all of my makeup in that. Y'all, I don't think I could even fit... I could probably fit my lip products in that. I could probably fit my lip products in a caboodle these days. But I digress. I had some Jane eyeshadows. Anybody else? The little like round black individual shadows. See, this is where like single shadow life started. I found a picture of them. Somebody is still selling them on Etsy. How crazy is that? I think it was on Etsy. eBay? eBay. It was on eBay, not Etsy, obviously. So this shade is really close. I wish I could remember the shade name. I tried to look it up and I couldn't find the details, but it was very close to this purple. This is a little bit darker than that purple, but man, I remember when I finally threw it away, it was like 3/4 gone. A huge dip in the pan, and it was one that I used a lot. So I was like, yeah, I absolutely need to find something that's in that. This is, by the way, Glaminatrix Witching Hour. This is from that palette. I'll put it here. You know, that palette. I think I've said before, a beautiful, wonderful, kind subscriber sent me some Glaminatrix things, including this palette in singles, and I have yet. The problem is it's in a Sydney Grace, one of these. I have it in one of the Sydney Grace 12 pans. I forget about it. I think it's an empty thing or a BYOP, and I just forget about it. Nocturnal? Is it the Nocturnal palette? At any rate, I just need to, what I need to do is like put a cover on that palette and just like label it so that I remember, because I really want to use that palette. Oh, this swatched out now. This looks very, very close to that Jane eyeshadow that I had. Yep. Rest in peace, Jane, by the way. It is no longer a brand. I am 99% sure, but I got a lot of use out of this one. I really am enjoying this palette. Okay, so this is a shade that I thought, honestly, just really helps kind of round out this palette. I think that this is actually a highlighter shade. I just got it in the eyeshadow pan. This is Imaginary from Pretties for Your Face. You can see here it's a beautiful, soft duo slash multi-chrome. Again, I think it is a highlighter, but I got it in the small pan. I thought that I could use this almost like the Devinah Velvet multi-chromes and just use this as a beautiful soft inner corner. I also thought that this would, because I don't think in the early 90s, I don't think that highlighter was a thing that we were doing yet, but Kelly would have loved, I mean, putting glisten on my face, like more glisten, I totally would have been into that. It would have been pretty unflattering because I had pretty bad skin when I was in high school, so the texture and everything would have definitely been enhanced, but I really do think that Kelly would have loved something like this. So I think I'm actually going to try it on as a highlighter because I haven't actually used it yet. I've swatched it, but I don't think I've actually used it yet. This was from the like Willy Wonka inspired collection that Pretties for Your Face did. So I have two of them. I think it's Dreamer and Imaginary, and they're similar-ish. I had to get them both. I just thought that it would be a beautiful, like, soft inner corner. I could even just whisk London Fog on the eyelid and tap on this shade over the top for something really pretty, icy pastel, still kind of colorful. So wanted to throw that one in here. And obviously, Pretties for Your Face shadows are so inexpensive. I definitely would have enjoyed that as well. I mean, I enjoy it now, clearly, but like when you're working on a high schooler's budget, I definitely enjoy like shadows that you can get for like $2 sometimes. So if you didn't know, by the way, I am an affiliate with the brand. You can use my code KEEPBEAUTYREAL if you do want to save. All right, here is a shadow that I had to put in because I know that I went through a lot of black eyeshadow in high school. Not by wearing a lot of it at a time, but because I put black eyeshadow on a lot of days because that was what I learned, right? In that little, like, I would do like little smoky eyes because it's like, oh yeah, you put the shadow on, you put another shadow here, and then like you do the little V on the outside. Like I did the little V with a black shadow a lot. I remember practicing, experimenting. I really liked the way that it looked. I didn't even know why, but of course now, like knowing with my like slightly downturned eyes, I think my eyes are a little bit more hooded than they were at that time, but it just really flatters my eye shape. And so I rocked it all the time. So we had to pull in a black. I chose Karma because this is definitely my blackest black. Absolutely beautiful. This is a fresh one, very fresh one. I actually have another one in my companion palette that I traveled with, and she did not fare well on those travels, so it's a little bit chipped. And let me tell you, I think I joked about it. I was like, man, y'all, Karma's a bitch. Like this shadow, once it chips, you're just gonna find micro fragments everywhere if you travel with it. So I just keep this one. It doesn't travel anywhere, so I have a second one that I just use in my companion palette if I ever need to reach quickly for a black. But definitely worth having 2 pans of. Okay, so Karma. We are definitely going to enjoy using this one. Oh, I think, wow, yep, totally got off track. I was saying I wouldn't mind a flaky shadow because I didn't wear foundation or concealer, and so therefore would not have worried about like fallout when I'm putting on my makeup. I really do not remember. I remember I didn't do my brows. I probably did eyeshadow, mascara, bronzer maybe at some point, and I think that's it. Powder, of course. I think I said like I had a pressed powder compact. I definitely remember having pressed powder in middle school. Maybe I had started trying to play around with foundations in high school. I think by the end I was using some just to like try to cover up my acne scars and stuff, but I do not remember as much. I just remember loving the eyeshadow, y'all. That has never changed. Probably had lip gloss. I was big into the lip gloss. All right, so here is my high school palette. This is a fun one. I can't wait to sort of step back into time. So we're gonna do, like I said, at least one look right now. I'm hoping that tomorrow I can do another. So I will pop that in at the end of this video, just in case you want another way to use this collection of shadows. Let's get into this. I'm probably just going to put on some music. We've done a lot of chit chat. We've done a lot of chit chat already. And this way, maybe we can squeeze 2 looks in without this being like a 2-hour video.
So why do we do this dance? Are we moving too slow? Cause you need reassurance. Don't conflate issues. Why you always jump to? Do I really want you? When you know that I do. You so scared of real love. Cause you've been abandoned with any mistake. They quick to run. And so you run. Jump the gun. But know that you got it. Even at your lowest, you got it. You know that you got it. Baby, take the moment, you got it. It's yours, it's yours, it's yours. My love.
All right, here we have the finished eye look. I'm digging it. I think High School Kelly would have dug it too. I don't think High School Kelly had quite the ability to blend, but you know, practice makes perfect and all that. So we still have to try the highlight though. So let's pop on that imaginary as a highlight. I'm just gonna grab a brush here. We'll see how this looks. Oh yeah, that's pretty. It's interesting to have a bluey flip on. It's a little more than probably what I would want. Wow, I just got like quite a bit on there. It's High School Kelly would have loved it, I think. I'm just gonna take the brush that I had my blush on, and I'm just gonna kind of like blend this in a little bit. So if you love a good like multi-chrome, duochrome moment here, I wish that I hadn't gotten it quite so far up near my eye. Like I just feel like blue near my eye is gonna kind of look like a bruise, but that's okay. We tried it. Probably would put it just a little bit lower next time. Also, lip. We have to throw on a lip, but the thing is I really don't think that I would have done, I'm just gonna zoom you out just a little bit. I don't think that I would have done like a lipstick. I honestly would probably have just done like a lip balm or a lip gloss. So let me see what I have out here. I actually have this little Sephora lip balm. I don't think they make these anymore. I think they have a new lip balm, but I don't think that they do these. This is the sheer matte lip balm, and this is the fuchsia shade. Let's try this on. That was the other thing. I did not understand, like blush and lipstick. I was like, who needs that? Like, why not just have like a little bit of gloss? This honestly is even more color than what High School Kelly would have done. Just a little like clear gloss. There were the Victoria's Secret glosses that were uber sticky, but they were really shiny. That probably would have been my vibe. Let me see if I can find something super shiny. Hold on. Okay, I have this C.O. Bigelow lip cream. The C.O. Bigelow lip Oh, this is just a creamy one. We're gonna have to see. So these, the like glossy ones, I remember even having some of those in high school. Oh yeah, this has got a little gloss to it. We'll throw this on. Not as thick and goopy as the Victoria's Secret ones were. Yeah, this would have been my vibe. Totally my vibe. Not as shiny and more color on my lips. It's so funny because I totally would have been like dramatic eye, nothing on the cheeks. Although, like I said, I probably would have enjoyed a highlight. But definitely no color on the cheeks. No lipstick. Who needs lipstick? So this is fun. I will say in my ideal palette, I would definitely switch this color out for something that's not quite so blue silver. And you can see like with my skin tone, it just looks, it almost looks blue, like it looks icy blue. So I personally need something that leans a little bit more olive or a little bit more into a more neutral silver. So it's very cool tone, but this is exactly what I would have loved. All right, absolutely loving this one. We're gonna now, if I had time, we're gonna go into I Look 2. And then after that, I will give you the details if you would like to join in on our BYOPs and next month's theme.
You're gone now, but you're coming back. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know that. You're the traveling kind. It's a known fact. Yeah, I know that. Once you've seen all the things, all the places, I hope it means that you'll come home to me. Once you travel the world, all the spaces inside your heart, I hope I'll be your end destination. I hope I'll be your life-changing sensation. I hope I'll be something that you won't let go. I'll be your high when you fall down low. I hope I'll be your end destination.
All right, here we have our final second look. I just wanted to take a moment to chat a little bit about this one. I will say my outer corner definitely got a little larger than what I was originally planning, but I think I reined it in a little bit with a Q-tip. A good old Q-tip brings it home every time. Definitely more dramatic than I probably was doing back in the day, but love a good classic dramatic smoky eye. I also just wanted to make a note about a couple things from yesterday's look. Number one, can I just say how much I ended up loving using that imaginary as a highlight? The duochrome of it isn't something that I will wear all the time because like that bluey shift. But I will just say, like later on that night I was looking, and once it settled into my skin, now granted I did have it up too high like I had said, but it was the most refined, smooth. For a highlight, it was not as texture enhancing as I would have thought. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So I can't wait to play with that a little bit more, like even as like a blush topper kind of situation when the mood strikes. I'm not sure, but I just wanted to say, because I know at first I was like, ugh. And I just ended up loving it. I will also say that that Violet Holo shade, and I don't even know if you can, no, well, yeah, actually, maybe you can see it right here. If you, I don't know if Glam Shop even makes it anymore, but if you happen to have it in your collection or something, I would definitely recommend only using that one when you have laid down a base or like a concealer like I did, because it was very heavily staining. I mean, I washed this off, I showered, I did all the things, and I can still see a little bit from that swatch here. It wasn't as much on my eyelid because I did have that concealer and powder down before I had done my eye look. So just a little info there. Hope you enjoyed the second look. All right, lovelies, thank you so much for joining in for today's trip down memory lane to high school. I hope that you enjoyed. Again, let me know some of your high school vibes down below. What would be in your makeup palette? I would love to know. Speaking of palettes, don't forget to check out Cara's video. I will also have any other creators that I know that are doing this month linked down in the description box, so make sure to check that out. So if you would like to join, we always post traditionally on the last Thursday of the month. Now, this month's Thursday is Halloween. So Cara and I have pushed it forward a day, back a day, whichever way you want to look at it, so that people weren't having to watch on Halloween night, because hopefully you have something fun going on. So like I said, traditionally we would do the last Thursday of the month, but please feel free to post whenever you want. And I know sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, I'm so late on this month. It's like, please just do it whenever. I love seeing it. Now, if you're a creator, make sure you tag Cara and I in your videos so that we can share it. I always love getting to see. And then if you are not a creator, but you still want us to see your palette, maybe your swatches and eye look that you did, the best way to do that is through Instagram. You can just tag us. I am Keep Beauty Real, and Cara is Beauty and the Frizz. So we love getting to share. I just think it's so much fun that everyone has kind of like put their own spin of creativity on these themes, and I really love it. And thanks to everyone that gives ideas. We absolutely want to see those rolling in. So if you have a theme that you'd like to see in the future, please let us know in the comments as well. So before we get into next month's theme, I just want to give a shout out to Susan for this great idea. I thought this was a lot of fun. I wasn't sure, honestly. I always have I always have an idea of what I'm going to build a palette around, and it always morphs. Both like the things that trip my memory and then the shades that I pick. So other than my very special velveteen mock turtleneck, super silver, like literally would have matched this shirt, I think everything sort of like just popped up randomly in my brain, and it was super fun to go down that memory lane. So thank you, Susan, for that. That was super fun, and honestly not a theme that I ever would have thought of. So this is why we keep asking all of you, if you have any fun ideas, leave them down in the comments. Now for next month, we are going to be doing a set of shades that we are thankful for. And I think, you know, at first when we were kind of talking about this, when Cara like suggested it, I was like, is that kind of the same as favorites though? And I was like, no, actually, I don't really think it has to be. I don't really think it has to be at all. There's definitely a difference. So I'm gonna let that marinate for a couple weeks in my brain and come to you with a set of shades that I'm thankful for. I'm really excited. And for those of you that want to share what you're thankful for as well, get ready to share that BYOP in the ways that I just said before. And honestly, if you don't want to share it and you just want to participate, please totally do it, right? Like use your makeup, friends. Have fun with it. That's what this whole series has been about. And by the way, if you are new to this series and you want to see more BYOP videos, I'll have my BYOP playlist linked down below. All right, that's enough chit chat for me. I hope you're all having a great fall. I am going to rock this very cool toned, very dramatic eye look. It's out of the box of Kelly in 2024, but it's still really fun. All right, lovelies, thank you so much. Don't forget to like this video on your way out, and I will see you really soon.